have people call.
Welcome to the Church of Mabus, everybody. We're back from the dead. Been a while since we broadcasted at 11 p.m. Eastern. We're doing a lot of pre-recorded shows. We did a Halloween show. That guy kind of abruptly stopped from bad weather. We're going to chop that up and stick it on YouTube at some point. So if you were wondering what happened to the Native American show, we should have that chopped up at some point. We'll stick it on YouTube. Tonight's guest, Gregory Harold, author of the book, The Alien Connection. Just to give you a little bit of insight, I consider this case, and I think Guy does too, very important, and I've labeled the title World's Most Overlooked Cases because I believe it's been heavily overlooked by a lot of people, because I believe Greg has submitted it to certain places and just didn't get much feedback out of it. He has a lot of compelling photographic and video evidence of a lot of strange things that most assuredly deserve more attention. He has a YouTube channel. We'll get the link to that to you in a bit. And basically, it's Greg's first time on radio. So we're going to have a great show tonight. We're going to get into his case. And I'm telling you, this case is just fascinating. I've seen the video, Guy's seen the video, and I just can't believe that it's not more known, that more people haven't been discussing it, you know, on radio shows, on a bigger circuit. So we're very proud to have Greg here tonight, and we're going to get into his case. Guy, do you have any comments on the case?
No, it's very strange. I've never seen anything like it, actually. So I'm kind of really, I want to hear Greg, you know, talk about it. But I've never seen anything like this before. Nothing remotely like it. Nothing.
And basically what we're referring to is the video. I mean, the guy has video and photographs of this stuff, and it's just strange. There's a little thing floating around in a spacesuit. It's some weird stuff. So let's get into it. Are you there, Greg?
Yeah, I'm here. Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate that.
It's a great pleasure.
Yeah, I'd like to say a few things about the films before I get into the storyline, if that's okay.
Sure, go ahead.
I think most people, you know, they up in the sky, you know, the UFO people, and they see a bright light up there, and right away it's they suspect it's an alien of some kind. But there's really not any hard evidence of that. Someone can pick up and touch and feel or something like that. The pictures documented in the book were taken directly off of the pictures in the book were taken directly off of Super 8 film, taken over the sheer period. And the original films are still untouched and available today. I don't know if you can I'm getting a little feedback in there. I'm not sure whether it's the phone line or what it is. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I hear a little bit of an echo.
Yeah, I get a lot of it back, so when I'm talking. But I'll go ahead and continue. The films that were taken on were Super 8 films. I just want the listeners to know that back in 1974 or so, they used Super 8 film, which is a conventional film where the chemical gets burned off and you end up with a negative. But these are very small films, and any of the images that are captured on the film are probably no bigger than the head of a pin. So you can't go down and fool with the films and fake them, because it wasn't just possible. Today they can do that with digital stuff because they got the computers and they can do things like that. I think the real question here is, what are the images on the pictures? Now, I've sent emails to all major UFO organizations and paranormal organizations. I put the videos on YouTube for people to see, and I don't get back many negative comments. I don't get back a whole lot of comments. So I think it's because basically there's never been any pictures like that before anywhere. If there has, I have no knowledge of it, and I've been sending those out for a couple of years now.
Yeah, Gregory, I haven't seen anything, and I mean nothing even remotely close to this.
No, there isn't. It's just very bizarre, very unusual.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think of it myself, except that I know there's a lot of detail involved, and I know it's there, and it's not on the film, but I'm not here to convince anybody of that. You know, it's the other thing I wanted to say was when I talk about this and I describe the images and I use terms like aliens and entities and transporter beings and so forth, I'm using those so I can describe them in some way to people, because I don't really know what they are, and that way they can kind of get an idea what I'm talking about. Although I just want to say, you know, I don't really know what they are, but because of the films, I have a lot of information that describes the activities. And so what I'm going to do is try to tell the story as accurately as possible and try to relay the information that's documented on the films, and then people can make up their own minds as to what they think they might be.
Hey, Greg, how can we direct people to your YouTube page right now? I know it's kind of a weird link, but what can they put in to get to that while you're talking?
Yeah, if you go to YouTube and type in GREGG, H is in Harold 71. That won't take you to the channel, but to a page where it shows all the videos.
That's G-R-E...
G is in Greg, R-E-G-G, H in Harold 71.
All right.
Yeah, I think the videos give you a good idea of how the things move and how they travel and all that. I think the pictures give you more of a detailed idea of what they look like, more of a close-up thing. And that's in the book. It's more detailed, but the films let you see what they actually look like and how they move. So I think
the DVD is a lot. You have to see the film. I mean, the book is good and everything like that, but you can't really get a concise picture of how everything moves and.
Exactly, yeah.
Unless you're actually looking at that.
I put a new one on there yesterday that people might want to watch. It's pretty good. In fact, it shows a little more information than the original one. It's the Alien Connection 1A is in Apple of 15. That's the name of it. It's on the YouTube site. It pretty much shows the motion that the first 4 images go through. And I show little blow-ups on each one of the frames of the film. And at the end, I put in a bunch of descriptions of clues that I've found are related to the images and might help people understand.
Okay, so why don't you start at the very beginning, Gregory, of how this all came about?
Okay. Yeah, it's a long story, but we'll go right back because it's very important. We were living, my wife and I and kids were living up in Michigan at the time. I think that was in 1968. And I decided that, well, you know, I wanted to go to Florida, and it's a nice place to live, and we could go down there and maybe start a little business and, you know, get a job down there. So we did. We moved down and moved into a new neighborhood in Palm Springs, Florida. And we built a house. Took a while to get it. And when we moved in, there weren't too many people in the neighborhood. And but we had some neighbors. There were a few neighbors in the neighborhood, and the kids would get together and start playing and stuff like that. But as it worked out, they were a little bit older than ours, and sometimes it didn't work out because they're a little bit too rough. And at times I had to send some of the kids home, and I didn't think it was a big deal because, you know, people do that all the time. But what eventually happened was the relationship kind of cooled off and really didn't correspond too much with the neighbors anymore. And after a month or so went by, we started fixing up the house, doing things in the yard, that kind of thing, planting shrubs, you know, building this and building that. And what started to happen was they put in shrubs, and one day you would go out there and they'd all be wilted and drying up, and when you put water on them, it would fizzle, like foam, you know. And we didn't really know what was going on at the time, but it appeared like it was acid, like somebody had put something on there and killed them. And but we really didn't know, and so we kind of ignored it, you know. And then a week or two would go by, and another week would go by, and you would have damage to your car. You know, maybe one of the tires was cut, like vandalism. So, you know, it was like, hey, what's going on here, you know? So we called the police and said it had vandalism and stuff like that. And they more or less said, well, we can't really do anything unless you have evidence or you have witnesses. So I said, okay. So what my wife and I decided to do was we couldn't stay up all night. All this stuff was happening at night. It didn't happen every week. It happened, you know, it could go 3-4 weeks and nothing would happen. But the minute you put something new in, it would be ruined. Right. So we decided to go ahead and get a camera. Well, I didn't know anything about photography at the time. I was lucky if I could take a picture. And but I looked around and I found this camera. I think I bought it in Miami or whatever, and it was a surveillance camera by Kodak. And the way the camera, it used movie film, and each roll of film had, if it was a 50-foot roll of film, it had 3,500 frames that you could take pictures on. And you could set the camera to take pictures whenever you wanted to. In other words, anywhere from 1 second to 30 seconds apart. Well, what we did to try to save money, because you couldn't do it all the time, it was expensive, was the days that damage had previously occurred in the yard, that's the time I set the camera for the next week, just simply thinking that, well, if somebody had a reason to cause damage on certain nights, maybe they would do it on those nights again, and we'd stand a good chance of getting the picture. So that's what we did. We set the camera up and started taking a picture at night. Well, we had trouble with that because I didn't know anything about photography. Didn't have enough light. Everything looked black. So we messed around with that, and finally, after putting up an outside light that overlooked the backyard and messing around with the film, changing the ASA type to a faster film, I was finally able to get pictures of the bed during the night with the spotlight on. A month or so went by, and I didn't get anything on there except the pictures of the yard. Then one day, I got it. Oh, I'll back up just a little bit. In 1974, black and white film was on its way out, and everybody was going to colored film. Well, the surveillance camera didn't use colored film; it used black and white, and it was on a roll. And the local places that developed that kind of film wouldn't do it. You had to send it away to somewhere else, the specialty place, to get it developed. So I had to end up sending it to, I found two places. One was in Plant City, Florida, and the other one was in Chicago, Illinois. So when I took the pictures, I'd set them for about 4 seconds apart, and it'd take about 3 days or 3 nights to use up a roll of film, and then I'd send it away to one of these two places. Well, it would take about 2 or 3 weeks for the film to come back. Then you would have to take a look at the film. Well, you couldn't put it on a regular projector because the projectors run at 6 frames per second or something like that. And any image that was on that film that you ran back on a regular projector, you wouldn't see it because it's moving too fast. What you would see is a little flick on the screen, but it didn't look like anything. I don't know if you remember, if you've ever gone to the old movies, and you'd sit there and watch a movie and you'd see these little white flicks all over the place. I don't know if either of you have ever seen that, but
yeah, I used to run movie projectors.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I'm familiar with
okay.
all that stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so what would happen with this? I had a hand projector. If you slowed the regular projector down, the bulb was too hot and it would melt the film. It's made to travel through there at a faster speed. The fan wouldn't cool it. So I had to get a hand projector that came with the surveillance camera, and you would feed it through like 1 frame at a time and see what you saw. You know, and that way you wouldn't burn the film, but it took a long time to do it. Well, what happened at that time, I think it was the first week in November when I got the first image. That was the first time I saw anything on film. And I didn't know what to think of that. When I first saw it, I thought it might have been little kids because one of the neighbors had little kids, and they used to run around in football helmets because he was big into football. And the first thing that hit me was, well, they look like little kids. The guy sending his kids over here or something? You know, and then I looked at it, and I couldn't see a face. I could see the helmet. I could see the upper body part, and I could see what looked like an arm, you know, in the upper position, but I couldn't see anything under the waist. But I just contributed that to being too dark, or they had black trousers or pants on. So anyway, there wasn't enough there to show any police or anything because you really couldn't see anything. So we just continued. You know, maybe I kept running the camera, sending the film in to different one or the other of the two developers. And when I got it back, there would probably be either no images on it, 1 or 2 images, or sometimes 6. But we're talking out of a roll with 3,500 pictures on it, you probably get 3 or 4 images, something like that. Images that were what I call workable. There was a lot of things on there, but you know, they might have been something, but they weren't clear enough to show anybody to really see anything. So anyway, the second week came along, and I got a roll back, and what it had was the first images, I'll back up a little bit. The first image is what I labeled them as floaters because they didn't look like they were walking or anything, but they looked like they were just moving from one spot to another. And but it looked when you looked at them closer, it looked more like they were kind of fading, popping in and then popping out. If you understand what I mean. It wasn't like
right. Yeah,
like you see them and then you don't see them. So you really couldn't see them move from one place to another. You could see the first picture, and then you could see the second one that was 4 seconds away, but it changed appearance. It didn't look like the first one. So you didn't know whether it was because the image was changing its position relative to the camera or what was going on. So anyway, back to the second week. What I got in the second week was one of the same type images that this time it looked like it could have been 10 to 12 feet in the air. And it looked like underneath it was looked like a column, if that makes sense. And in the column, it looked like a series of these helmets stacked on top of one another, going to the ground. But on the top of the column, next to the what I call a floater or the suit, I didn't know it was a suit at the time, and I don't know it yet, but I assume it is because of what goes on the films. And I got that and a couple other images, and it looked like it might have had facial features, but you couldn't tell. That's in the book, too. You could see it on the detail stuff. And all this was happening, and we were still getting this kind of damage type stuff. But it was more like the chemical type things being thrown on things, but it was combined with other type damages, little things around the house. But anyway, the third week, this is kind of fascinating. The third week images came back. There was 5 on that roll. That were the spacesuit type guys, what I call them. That's just terminology, where they had helmets, and they would change the way they looked from one place to another. The funny thing about the third week was, if you compared the images from the third week, what you got back on the first week, the first image on the first one was the same as the first image on the third one. Can you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, yes.
And I think it was the second one was the same fourth one on the other film. So 2 of them were identical. They were in different places, taken on different times, but they looked identical. And but they still didn't look like anything you could show anybody, you know. So we didn't really know what to think of the thing. And so what we did at that time, we called a local reporter in from the small newspaper down there.
Right.
And she came over, and I thought, I'll just show her the film, see what she says, you know. And she says, first thing she said was, "Those aren't children." And I kind of like scratched my head, and it's like, okay, what are they? You know? And she didn't know. She's seen funny pictures before, you know, ghosty type things, but she really didn't know. And but what she did do was she took the copies of I had to make prints up on those because you can't get it off the movie film. So what you do, you blow them up in the individual frame and go ahead and make a negative and then a positive to get an actual picture. So she took the 4 pictures of those things, and what she told me was she had showed them to one of the astronauts, and I don't remember which one it was. It might have been Gordon Cooper, but I'm not sure. That was around 1974, into 1974 sometime. And she said his response to that was, "They don't look solid." That's what he said. And she also took the films to a representative from Kodak, who checked the films over, and he said there wasn't anything wrong with the films. He said the films were fine. He didn't know what was on there, but the films were okay. So she did one more thing. She took the pictures to somebody she knew and tried to duplicate the image out of sheet metal. And that turned out pretty funny because it looked just like somebody tried to duplicate it out of sheet metal. You know, it was funny. But so it kind of at that point, it was kind of like, okay, don't know what, but it looks like we got two different things going on here. We got some guy running around trying to terrorize us or something, destroy our property or for whatever reasons. And nothing was ever said to anybody. It was just like it was happening, and nobody, you kind of suspected somebody, but you never saw anybody do it. And so from that point on, life kind of went on. The damage stuff every once in a while would still occur. We went about our business the best we could, and curiosity was setting in, and I kept running the camera because I was more curious about the images on the film then, although I still wanted to find out who was doing the other stuff. And during the years, I guess, from 1975 through like 1976, you got a lot of things on film that aren't shown necessarily in the book because there's not enough detail where people would even understand what it is. They would say, "Oh, it's nothing. It's just some smear or something on the film." So
right.
I have all that stuff, but it's nothing you can really show anybody. Now the funny part is, I'm going to go ahead a little bit because.
Hey, Gregory, I'm going to ask you something. Did you ever upgrade your cameras?
No.
So So you left. So you continued using the old style cameras.
Yeah, at that time they were new.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was new camera at the time, and but if you mean have I ever tried to photograph anything since then with a different kind of camera, the answer is no. I did think about using it, and I pulled it out about a year ago, and I got some film, and I was going to try it, but the camera wouldn't advance the pictures by itself. I don't think it's broken because when I finished using it, it wasn't broken, but it was sitting in a box for 30 years, and it had motor on the outside. So I'm thinking it probably got clogged up or something. I did call Kodak, and I asked if I could get it repaired, and they told me it was too old, they wouldn't repair it.
They probably can't get parts or nothing like that, or somebody even know how to do it.
Right, and they said that they wouldn't have parts for it anyway if something was broken. It's just too old. So it's just sitting here. We haven't done anything, And anyway, I'm going to go ahead a little bit in the story because in 1977, I had these pictures, and I'm thinking, boy, these are so unique. Maybe I can put them out there and maybe charge a couple dollars if somebody's, wants to see them, or maybe somebody else has information they can give me. They just pay me for shipping or whatever it is, and we'll see what happens. And at that time, the National Enquirer was down here in Lantana. So I made up a sheet, and I pretty much explained about the camera and stuff like that, and I included the picture, and I put an ad in the Enquirer. Well, because they had a big circulation, I figured, we'll see what happens. I got back about 12 responses to the ad, and one of them was from a guy in Chicago, and he had sent me 6 pictures, Xerox copies of 6 Polaroid pictures. He had just gotten a new camera, one of these Polaroid, I don't know, remember the model number, but the Polaroids developed their own film. You don't have to send them into a developing house to get it done. They did it in the camera.
me every week for the Rob Simone Talk Show here on the UFO Paranormal Radio Network.
Tune in to UFO Undercover, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
All right, we're back after some technical difficulty. Let's just get on with the show. I don't know what the hell happened, but we're back, and with our guest, Gregory Harrell. If you could, Gregory, the last stopping point that I recall was the Chicago pictures after you placed the ad.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can pick it up from there. I got one response back. I got 12 response backs from the National Enquirer ad. And one of them was from a fellow in Chicago. He had taken pictures. He had just got a new Polaroid camera, and he was taking pictures on the front lawn of his home of a full moon. And what he got back was really bizarre. Anyway, he sent me. I had placed the ad, so he had sent me copies, a Xerox copy with 5 Polaroid pictures. 2 of which I have put in the book. But what they were was, they were just bizarre. They looked like there were 2 larger images on the bottom, which appeared to be guiding or steering these other little ones that were up in the sky, like you would. They looked like a slinky, like these spacesuit type things were one behind the other. Must have looked like there might have been 100 of them. And at the time, I didn't know what they were. I just kind of ignored them because I wasn't looking at it. And they were small, and the ones I had were bigger. And I paid more attention to the big ones, and I had no way to do it. So I think I probably wrote him back and said, I don't have anything like that, and kind of left it at that. Basically, what happened. And kind of forgot about him at that time. Anyway, we move on into, I think, 1977. One of these floater-type images returned. I got that on the camera. And it didn't come down in any kind of transporter beam. It came from the yard behind our house. Now, I could see it because these images have it looks like a long rod on the right-hand side. It looks like the arm is hanging on, or the hand is hanging on to it. It doesn't look like a solid thing. It looks like light. But I could see the picture on the film. When I looked at it, you could see the top of the rod above the fence in back. And it appeared as though that whole image came right through the fence. It came about halfway up in the yard, and then it appeared to disappear. And A few seconds later, it appeared again, and it tended to move up to the right, and it turned into a bright white light with kind of like the same shape, and then it disappeared. So that was similar to the one in 1970. That was similar to the one in 1974. Is everything still good there?
Everything's good. So
Okay.
basically this guy had similar pictures that were very identical to your pictures that had like these little suited beings, right?
Yeah, I didn't know that in 1977, though, because I didn't put that in the paper until 1980. But I'd gotten the pictures, from him in 1980. I didn't know that in 1977. I just backed up a little bit so I could tie the two together. But so moving on from that, we went up to the next thing that happened was the next year in 1978, where a different kind of suits showed up. I compare it. I think I compare it in a book like comparing a new model. Like a Chevy or Ford has new models every year. It's almost like this little suit or whatever they wear. They had an upgraded model in 1978. What it looked like was it looked like a cylinder. It might have had one arm. It looked like what would be one arm on it, but it had a helmet. And the way this one worked, you can actually see the helmet separates from the body part of the suit. It disappears, and there's one of these alien type images comes out of the bottom of the suit. Now it's the same kind of thing. It's got the head. It's got the same kind of description, and it's very similar to the one that was in Chicago also. And what it does when it comes out of the suit, it goes toward the ground. And I don't have a picture of it going into the ground, but the last picture I had was it was right in front of the camera, and it looked ghostly, looked like a ghost, basically what you think a ghost would look like. And so that was something that was brand new. Then if we move on to 1978, later maybe in the year or whatever, the pictures seemed to change, and they got away from the floater type images, and they start turning into orbs. There were a lot of pictures of what people call orbs, which are like small lights, but some of these were really big lights, round. I had there's one set of pictures in there where it looks like a bright light. It looks very more oval than round. If I had to guess the size, it's right down near the ground, in probably 20 or 30 feet in front of the camera, and it's about 4 to 6 feet across in diameter, more or less. And then what happens, the light goes away, and there's a sphere. It looks like a sphere, a round ball. It's sitting pretty much right on top of the shrub. It looks like the same size, probably 3 or 4 feet in diameter. It has 2 dark bands around the center that go circumferentially. It looks around it, and it just sits there on top of the shrub, and it pulsates from bright light to dim, bright to dim, bright to dim. And this goes on for a good 30 frames on the film. And
there was nothing new, like in the background, like someone put out an outside.
No, at that time there was a wooden fence in the back of the yard and stuff, and this thing was way below that.
Okay.
So it looked like it was sitting right on top of the shrub, and it was pulsating, like it was big. In fact, I kind of made a joke of it at the time. I called it a big hamburger, because that's what it looked like to me, And
so, Greg, basically, I mean, what you have is an alien, like, extravaganza circus going on in your backyard, and the proof is so compelling.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, why do you think they were there, and also, do you think they ever mess with you on any level, like on an abduction type level? Do you think you were ever taken, or they interacted with you in the dream state, or anything weird like that?
No, I never saw them or anything, never heard anything. No, and the thing about it is, you would think, if I'd been out there and one of these things popped up in front of me, I'd probably freak out, But the way it worked was, you'd get the information on the film. I'd have to send the film in. It would take 2 or 3 weeks before I got it back. Then I'd have to review it. And until I got it back, I didn't know whether there's anything on there or not. Once it showed up on the film, I knew that 2 or 3 weeks earlier, there was something on the film. But at the time, I didn't see anything. And it even gets better. When we go on a little further, I even put that to the test. And anyway, on this large ball, I have 2 frames on film that followed that. It looks like a spherical ball, about 5 or 6 foot diameter, is leaving that area. In other words, there's 2 frames. One is in one place, and it moves up to the left out of the view of the camera. So this is the only place that I actually look solid. So I'm thinking, well, is a bright light there to hide the solid thing? It came in as a bright light, but when it pulsated, it didn't look like it looked like a solid thing. By matter is what I'm saying. Something like that. And then on the 2 frames where it leaves the area, they look solid, no white light. So that was strange. Now there was a lot more things with the orbs or the light balls. The next thing I ran into was a light ball showed up on the film one night. It looked like it was about 20 feet in the air near the back of the yard, which was probably 35, 40 feet away. It looked like it was about 2 foot in diameter, if I had to guess, but it had a flat bottom, like somebody had cut the bottom off. Well, the first thing I thought was maybe the thing was low enough to where the fence would hide the bottom of the ball. But I looked at it, and it wasn't the case at all. It was way up above it. And eventually, that particular one with the flat bottom came down in the yard and set above the same bush that big one was above. It was sitting there with the flat bottom cut off. Now, that doesn't make sense because it's not symmetry. If it's a natural thing, it's going to be round. I don't know why you'd have a ball with a flat bottom on it. And all the time, these are bright white lights. That's what they are. And there were many, many of those. But there's more to it. I mean, this flat bottom ball appeared twice on the films. Of all of them I've taken, it was there 2 times. The other one was in the middle of the yard. Looked like it was about 20, 30 feet off the ground. Had the flat bottom, but it's going to be hard to explain this too. Underneath the ball, that was about 20, 30 feet up, about 10 foot under that was this little thing that looked like a platform. Now you're going to laugh at this. I even hate to say it because it sounds kind of really weirdo, but there's a little platform, and on the platform looks like 4 individual human-type heads. That's what it looks like. And on the side of the platform, there's 2 cones that go down from the platform. Maybe almost looks like they might be some kind of motors or something. I don't know. That's in the book also. So people can take a look at that if they want to see that. And I think I also put it on the videos, on the YouTube videos. You guys still there with me?
Yeah, we're here. We're listening.
Okay. Okay. I just want to make sure we didn't lose it again. But there's more to that, too. Now, on the big flat-bottom ball with this platform underneath it, there's an entity that's either going into the ball or coming out of the ball. It looks like it has a head and a body. It has long, squiggly arms or whatever, and two long tails or whatever you want to call them. Now, I did, on that one, I sent that in to MUFON, and I wanted to take a look at it and see what it was. But the guy said it looks to him like it was, the camera was moving, and it was like a squiggle. Well, that wasn't the case because the camera wasn't moving. The camera was fixed. It didn't move anywhere. But it had kind of the same characteristics as all the other things that I've been describing, except it looked a little different. So that was the thing with the light balls, and I think other than that, I don't know why they were coming down, sitting in front of the camera. I have no idea.
Greg, looking at the pictures, these things are small. I mean, they're like little midget lizard people floating around your backyard.
Yeah, I know. I know.
And
they are small.
If you look at this suit, it reminds me of some of like the ancient civilizations who have weird pictures or statues of little beings in suits.
Yeah.
And I know there's a picture where the visor opens and you can kind of see a face, can't you, or something like that?
Yeah, on the original film, if you frame, you can see the visor. Well, there's actually two of them like that. One of them was taken the third week in November, and the other one with the new kind of suit. Now, the one with the new kind of suit, it looks like the visor kind of opens and the helmet comes off the body part, and then the thing comes out of that and goes down and near the ground, and it looks like a ghosty thing.
In this Chicago picture, it looks like a little lizard person riding a praying mantis kind of creature, doesn't it? Is that what that is, or seems like?
You talking about the big ones, the big pictures?
The Chicago picture.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at that right now, and it's like there's a little lizard man riding a praying mantis. I swear to God.
Yeah, I'm just trying to.
Yeah, it's a lot to swallow, but I mean, these are beings that are within ufology that have been reported. I mean, praying mantis type beings, we've known about those since Whitley Strieber's Communion, or with Christopher Walken in the book Communion.
Yeah, have you got the book in front of you?
Yeah, I sure do.
On page 61, this is the one one of the guys sent to me from Chicago. Now, the larger images that are marked 1 and 2 near the bottom of the picture, those are, if you look above those and you see all those other little things, like a slinky deal, they're twisting and turning and they're all stacked behind one another.
Yeah.
See, images 1, 2, and 3 are like the big ones. And it looks like they're directing these little ones, and the little ones are like the floater images that were on the film in the backyard.
What is 2? Is it a creature holding some kind of device?
Which one's that?
On page 61, it's like there's a little lizard person holding some kind of weird device. What that is?
Is it marked 1 or 2 or anything?
It's 1 and 2.
Yeah, I don't know whether that's the same image, whether one image is coming from the other image, or whether it's 2 separate images. See, I think like number 2 is a lot like the one that's labeled number 3. Often, 3 is off in the distance, but it looks like it's directing all these other things.
Just real quick, Greg, where can people get your book at? Because I'm telling you, if you're in, ufology in general, you need this book. The pictures, it's just fascinating. Just real quick, where can people get this? Is it available online?
Yeah, it's available online through Amazon, or they can order it through the major bookstores like Barnes and Noble.
It's called The Alien Connection. I saw it for sale in the UK, and I looked, and I know it's for sale, but I didn't see any comments under it. It's like people just overlook it, and it's like a slap in the face. I don't understand.
Well, it's like they don't. Yeah, it's like they don't pay attention to it. I don't know why that is. I don't know why. Maybe they don't want to go there, or they don't. They're looking for humanoid type strolls or something. You know.
Yeah, it's not the big flashy stuff. You know, the people that sells. Here's what I like about this whole thing, and you know, as I'm kind of I'm the skeptical person of the two, Gregory, and I try to find. I don't try to just debunk stuff.
Uh-huh.
I try to look at it just differently. And the thing I noticed about this when I first look at it, I got to admit, when I first looked at this, when I first got it, I was like, you know, you got to be kidding me here. Yeah, really. I'm like, okay, you know. So I put in the DVD, and I'm watching the DVD, and the thing that gets me about this is that the images, especially the little space guy in the suit, they're all consistent over time.
Oh yeah.
And it's not, you know, one time you got a picture of this guy, and then the next time you got here's another picture that could be a bug on the lens or something like that. I mean, this stuff is, over the years, you know, the stuff appears to be pretty consistent.
Well, the thing is...
Let me say this real quick. It's also like they know the camera's there, and they're just like playing around, like friggin' Playboy models or something. Yeah,
that's the idea you get. You know, it's like, you know, like I said, I have no idea what was going on there, but the way it went on there was kind of strange. It's like they started off with the spacesuit type guys, and now we're getting into the orbs or the UFO type things. You know, they're going into a different thing, you know, and it kind of blows your mind. You don't know what to think about it.
And let me explain this. Let me explain this real quick to the audience. Before this, you didn't care anything about aliens. You put up security cameras to catch people messing with your car. You weren't into aliens and stuff.
No, I never.
You're like
I'm never into that.
Neighborhood pranksters, and he comes across little floating midget lizard people in his backyard. It's got to be a lot to swallow psychologically, right? I mean, how does it affect you at first? You're like, holy shit, there's little lizard people in my backyard.
Well, no, it didn't come across like that. It come across like the guy's kids or something, you know? It's like, hey, it didn't even enter my mind that they were something else until the reporter took a look at it, and she said it's not kids. I'm saying, well, what the heck is it if it's not kids? Then I started looking at a lot of the detail stuff. Like I say, there's a lot of detail stuff, and there's a lot of repetition. Like the images from the first week and the third week, there's two of them that are almost identical. They're in a different place, taken at a different time. Then you got the ones in Chicago that are, the small ones are duplicates almost to the ones taken the first and second week in November, and that was 1 year apart. I think the Chicago ones were in 1978 and 3 years apart. And the other ones were in 1974. But they're the same things. And how in the world the guy got a picture of what he got a picture of when he's taking a picture of the moon? That doesn't make any sense either. He didn't think so either. He didn't. I wish I would have recognized that at the time. I would like to talk to him.
Here's what I think on some level. If you study ufology like Jacques Vallée and you look at the phenomenon and tie it into, like, you know, back in the day, the wee folk and fairy people, like we spoke to the Native American guy about the little people taking children. What it is, it's like there's a dimension that these beings apparently exist within inside of, and somehow it was some kind of hot spot in your yard, and that camera picked it up. And it's almost like, I mean, I wouldn't say these beings probably came from Uranus or whatever. They're probably in another dimension that overlies our dimension, and perhaps it ties in with, like, freaking fairy people or something, lizard people, midget, fairy, wee folk. I don't know, but somehow your camera picked up this other realm, at being the old technology that it is. It picked it up, and it's like they interacted with it, and it's just very compelling.
Yeah, there's more. There's a lot more. Like, see, once I got the I'm going to call them space tube type images. The first one I got was the best one. Now, I don't know if there's anything to this or not, but when I put the camera up, it was in a soundproof box. You couldn't see it from the outside, and you couldn't hear it. Now, the second set of pictures came back. They looked like similar to the first ones. A couple of them were identical, but the ones that looked similar looked like they were made of some kind of fabric or something. They didn't have the detail. Like the first one looked like it had little fingers on the end of the hand. Well, the other one looks like it was made out of fabric or something. You know, it's just weird.
One thing I thought of when I saw the little suit, I know there's a lot of controversy around the Stan Romanek peeping Tom alien, you know, that's in the window. I mean, a lot of people think it's BS, but I swear. Yeah, that was pre-recorded, so it was definitely.
No, I'm getting echoes from everything.
Yeah, we're getting a serious echo in there. It's like a.
I think it's calmed down now. start at. We're in the middle point, I think.
Okay, I hear the echoes coming back in. When I'm talking, I'm getting it back in my ear pretty strong. But, okay, that seemed to go away. You still there?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we're here.
All right, on the third type of light ball that comes down, I said it was like a trunk of a tree with the branches coming off of it. It's all white light. And when it looks like a ball, but I have the image of it before it turns into the ball, and it's just the inside of it. And it's got a trunk-like thing with branches coming out like a tree. And when it turns into a ball, it's almost like the white light hides it. And you can it almost looks like it's mechanical in a way. It's white light, but it almost looks like it's mechanical. But that's basically all about the orbs and stuff like that, the different kinds. Now, if you like, I can go into the next part.
Yes, please.
Okay. Now, the next part I got it labeled in the book I call Close Encounters. Well, when I was taking pictures of all these little spacesuit type guys and stuff like that, I noticed that I would get more pictures if it was near the end of the roll of film. I got pictures all through the thing, but it seemed like you had a better chance if it was near the end of the roll of film. And the reason for that, I don't know, but what happens with a half an hour to go on film, a half hour left, there was a red light on the camera that would come on. Now, I don't know whether the red light's got anything to do with that or not, but I thought, well, is this some kind of glitch in the camera, or what's going on with this stuff? I know there's a lot of detail and all that stuff, but so what I did was I ran the camera down to within a half an hour of being out of film, and I started it. This was earlier. It wasn't at 1 o'clock in the morning. It was like 8 o'clock at night, and I went out into the yard. I wanted to see if the images would appear there, and if they did appear, whether they'd be superimposed on me or not. And the first time I did that, what came back was it looked like you had mentioned interdimensional stuff. The right side of the yard was the way it's supposed to be. The left side of the yard looked like it was taken out of the history book or something. It looked like some big building in the back with it wasn't anything like what was in the backyard. It looked like it was split vertically right down the middle. It looked like it came out of a different time. Now that picture's in the book too. It didn't. So I did that again, and the second time I went out and did it. And what happened? I hate to call these things certain things because people are going to say it sounds crazy maybe or something, but I'm just trying to find things that will describe what appear to be looking at. Anyway, I was in the yard, and we're looking, and this thing comes down and sits above the bush, and it looks just like a giant chair. It's not a chair, but it looks like a chair. It's got 4 legs, it's got a seat, and it's got, like, a high back to it. And what it does, it rotates, that would be clockwise, as it goes down into the ground. And when it rotates clockwise, you can see the legs on it aren't one leg. It's actually made up of 2 legs. Each leg is 2 legs. And the top isn't flat. It's got 2 pieces that cross in an X. I call it the big chair because I don't know what else to call it. And that happened one more time. The next one was with what I refer to as a probe because it looks like a probe. If you're an engineer and you want to design something to with it that uses a parabolic type antenna, this thing comes down. It's got 2 vertical type rods on each side, and it has a curved panel in the middle. Now, you can see when that turns 90 degrees, like the other one did, when you're looking toward the ground, it rotates, I believe it looks like it's close to 90 degrees. You can actually see what the whole thing looks like. In the first 2 pictures, it looks like 2 rods, but when it turns and you look at it from the side, you can actually see the parabolic type antenna between the two poles. That was but none of the images ever superimposed on me or anything, and even though it appears in the book like I'm looking right at it, I didn't see anything, didn't hear anything. I didn't know that until a couple weeks later, and I got it back on the film. So that was a little different.
So it's like a chair that came down, like some kind of throne or something?
Well, it just looks like it. It kind of looks like a chair. Yeah, I call it a chair because it kind of, to me, it kind of looked like that. You know, because it had the legs. It's on, if you have the book, it's on page 107. And I got them labeled 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 and 2 are the front legs.
What page was that?
That's 107.
107?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It just sits there. It sits there. One is a leg, 2 is a leg, 3 is a seat, and 4 is like the high back thing. Now, if you look on 106, that's after it rotated 90 degrees and it fell. The one on 106. You can see that each one of those legs isn't one piece; it's two pieces.
Definitely peculiar.
Yeah, and see the top, it looks like the two pieces are crossed that make up the seat.
Yeah.
Look like made of sticks or something, you know? That's just, it's just strange. And then there's images all the time when I'm out there, like ghosts, you know, that are walking around. Like the one on 109, you can see part of it there. It looks like a ghosty type image that's on the side.
At this time, did any of your neighbors know anything about any of this, or did they ever say anything weird was happening, or they didn't know anything about it?
No, they didn't know anything about it. No. Well, the one neighbor on the side, that may have been who's been doing the damage to the property, you know. So, I was hoping I would catch somebody on the film, but I didn't. I just catch this stuff, you know.
I've had a neighbor that was playing with the occult and opened the gates of hell near your backyard.
Yeah. Well, you never know.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that was the deal with the pictures with the light. When I had the light out there, and these are the things that showed up on the film. Now, I don't know if the light makes a difference or not, but it just so happened that's, you know, I got them when the light was on. Now, go ahead.
Oh. So
go ahead.
now, in the time you're in now, do you still live in the same house that all this happened there?
Oh, no. I moved out of there in 1980.
Did you move out because of all this weird stuff?
Well, that maybe had something to do with it. I don't know. I just needed to get away, get out of there, I guess. I don't know if it's the weird stuff or just the, the damaged stuff going on. You know, you just don't need it. And after 5-6 years of this stuff, I didn't. It was taking so much time and everything, and it's very expensive too, because you have to send all that stuff in to get developed. And it's.
So since then, you haven't had any more weird things happen. It's like it was just at that particular place. No. It could have been associated with the location, but I haven't been taking any pictures since I moved either. Yeah.
Now, the thing that makes me think this stuff is not just there is because of the pictures I have in Chicago. The guy took it with a Polaroid camera, and to me, it looks like the same thing. So that's what makes me think maybe it's all around, not all the time all around. Maybe it makes the rounds, or I don't know. Something along those lines.
Yeah, I mean, for all we know, these things could have a city that's in another dimension overlapping ours,
Yeah.
Anything's possible. Or maybe they could live within the Earth, the hollow Earth theory and all that weirdness.
Do you still have that camera?
Yeah, I do. Like I was telling you.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. You were saying it was moldy and stuff.
Well, I don't know what it's like inside. Nobody will work on it. And but yeah, when I quit taking pictures, the camera was working fine. It's just that I never put it in it was just in a box in the closet, and it got all kind of moldy and stuff on the outside. And when I pulled it out and tried it, it wouldn't advance the film by itself anymore. That's when I called Kodak and I wanted to see if they could fix it, and they said no. Kind of laughed, like, no, we wouldn't even have the parts for that thing. But anyway, if you want to move on, we can get by that. We can move on to the whole set of pictures changed again in 1980. What I started getting in 1980 was lightning, but it wasn't lightning. Right in front of the camera, it's not off in the sky. It looks like it's right a foot or two in front of the camera lens. Was different shapes of what kind of looked like lightning, and inside and right in the center of the lightning, there was these little same type things, not the spacesuit things, the alien type things. They're in the center of that lightning. Now, it's not lightning, but I don't know what it is. Maybe somebody would know what it is, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it looks like
powerful, maybe.
It looks like they're coming down in it.
Yeah, they are. That's
like the little guy in the alien suit. He's not in the spacesuit.
No,
it looks like he's coming. He's not just like bing. He's like actually coming down.
Well, yeah. See, the one in the lightning doesn't have the suit. The one in the spacesuit, there's one that was in the spacesuit. Now he was in the suit. Now there's another one that's in the beam. Remember the beam that scans the yard from side to side?
Oh, okay.
It comes off the side of the beam. That's shown on the third video on YouTube. 1 of 3. That's the one that comes out of the side of the beam. So actually, there's different ways they travel, and what I did here is I put together all the things that I think I've learned about these things. In other words, how they operate and all that kind of stuff. It's just speculation, but it looks that way on the film. And I'll go ahead and go through those if you want to hear those. And again, It's just speculation, but it's what I get off the film. I'm not making it up. It's first of all, they appear to be invisible because when I was out there and they were in that stuff was in the picture with me, I didn't see any of it, and I never seen anything. But the film picks it up somehow. Now, apparently they can be detected by the traditional film that has the film with the coating on it, like the old cameras. But I don't know if it would work with digital cameras because they work with an electrical signal, not with a chemical. So they may not, whatever's exposing that film digital cameras may not pick it up. That's what I'm thinking. I know it works with the normal film because I got these pictures. Another thing, here's another one. It doesn't look like they're affected by gravity. Now that's strange because everything in the universe, as far as we know, even light, is affected by gravity. If they are affected, they sure don't show it because they just seem to pop in and out and now, there's pictures in there where they appear to go through solids, like through the fence, into the ground. They seem to do that.
Right.
Now, they seem to be able to change their appearance from one place to the other. That's pretty clear on the video. Now, I don't know whether they're actually changing their appearance or whether we're only seeing part of it. Maybe it's a dimensional thing, interdimensional. I don't know enough about this stuff. Now, I know they were photographed in at least 2 different cities, Chicago and Palm Springs, using 2 different type film cameras, the Polaroid and one that needs developing, and they were taken several years apart. So that kind of makes you think it's all around. It may not be all around all the time, but it seems like it's all around. Another thing would be, I'm pretty sure, information on the films, they tend to support the idea of these alien-type things are in the suits, because there's several pictures of them coming out of the suits. And the other thing that's kind of interesting is they seem to require the suit. You don't see them, if they're ever out of the, they're either seen in the suit, in the beam, or in the lightning. And if you do see them outside, they're not out there very long. So, maybe there's something to that. Maybe there's something in the atmosphere that doesn't agree with how they're made. Or, but that just seems to be the trend that's on the films.
Yeah, it could be some sort of pressure or,
Yeah, the films, you can't tell much by looking at one picture, but when you put all the pictures together, it's like putting a puzzle together. If you get enough pieces, you start to get an idea of what's going on. Now, you don't know why it's going on, and you don't know what's doing it, but you know what's going on. It's pretty clear. In the back of the book, I kind of put together something, I call it the big picture. I kind of coupled all these different images I got and everything and just kind of fit them together to see how this whole thing operates or how it works. And it kind of makes sense, I guess, if as far as you can understand. But anyway, that area down there has been, it's had experiences with UFO type things before. I did a little bit of research on that. It was like in 1952 in West Palm Beach. That's not on the road that happened. It's not very far from where all this is going on. There was maybe you read about it in the paper. It was a big deal years ago. Some scoutmaster was taking 3 Boy Scouts down. Military Trail is a road that runs down south down there, and they were coming back, and I guess they saw this big bright light off in the woods. So this guy stops the car, and he gets out, and he's got his machete with him, and he's going to go into the woods and see what it is. And he was in there a short period of time, and he came stumbling out, and his face was all burned. And it was made headlines in the paper. I believe it was in 1952, and the Army got involved in it, and they took him someplace, and he just eventually disappeared. I don't think anybody knows what happened to him. They hit him or something, I don't know. Then all these pictures on this camera were taken during 1974 to 1980. And in 1976, a person down there who I know said he saw a UFO over the lake, which is maybe 3 or 4 or 5 blocks away from where the pictures were being taken. He said the thing was about 50 foot in diameter, and it had multicolored lights going around the perimeter. And when it left, it was moving very slow, and you couldn't hear it, and it went over toward the airport. And he said they called the airport, and they said they had it on radar, and it went northeast and disappeared. And the lights that were rotating around reversed in color. This is what he was telling me.
And when did this happen?
That was in 1952.
Ah.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I'll correct that. He said 1976. He said that was in 1976. That's in the book. In fact, he drew a little picture in the back. It's his original drawing. It has a date on it. In May of 76. So these were taken in 74. That was in 76. And that lake is only maybe 4 city blocks away from where these pictures were taken. So that's quite a coincidence. And the Boy Scout thing in 1952, a UFO, there was a report of a UFO that came back to that area in 1997. And the Air Force got involved in that too. That's all written up in UFO reports and stuff like that. So there's activity down there. So,
I mean, did you have any animals or anything like that lived with you that acted weird or?
We had
nothing to give you any inclination that there was, some silliness going on.
No, we had a dog. He never acted weird. Of course, he was in the house at night most of the time. Wasn't outside. So
have you tried setting up a camera where you live now and seeing if you get anything like that?
No.
I'd love to try to recreate that.
Yeah. The problem is the number of pictures that I had to take to get what I got. I bet there's over 500,000 frames of film that were taking pictures. Because like on a roll with 7,500 pictures on it,
yeah,
you might get 3 or 4, or maybe you won't get any. And the next one comes in, you might get 8 or 10, or you might get 50, but there are all kinds of lights flickering and they're moving around and traveling, but they're not showing anything. And another thing that shows up whenever you get these light balls or large orbs, when they come down. They're always on a lot of the pictures. There's always some kind of animal. I don't know, animal or bird or whatever it is. I don't know. That's on the ground when they're in the picture. Yeah, I call it disguises. I don't know. I just said disguises because I don't know why it's there. It's nothing in there. There was nothing there. And that's shown on in the book on where some of the pictures show the most light. There's something on the ground. And when you look into the film, you can almost see some of these things kind of fly in. It looks like a beak on a bird or something. I don't know, when you see it on the film. But I'm trying to find a picture in here that you could look at. Oh, here's one if you have the book in front of you on page 94.
Okay.
That's an orb. Now, this is it's just a round orb that came down and set on the bush. Now, I have other ones where I have the flat bottom one come down and set on the bush too. That's a different kind. I think they have a different function. But anyway, if you see that, it's on page 94, and you look down the left-hand corner, there's something on the ground there.
Right.
I don't know what that is, but it shouldn't be there. It's not a dog or anything like that.
Yeah, it's definitely looks like a box with a says circle in the middle.
Oh, you know what? It looks like a canister, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does kind of.
Okay, well, where you can see that canister is where I took the pictures of the space type guys the third week. I'll find it here for you. It looks like when it leaves the suit, somehow it ends up in the canister. I'll have it here for you in a minute. And that was like the fourth image on the film, I think. Let's see if I can find that for you. Yeah, it's that's what I meant by protective suit. They always seem to have to be into something. I understand, like when if you were to shine a laser beam down from space through the stormy atmosphere, higher atmosphere, it would degrade that. It would degrade that signal, make it weak. The laser, it wouldn't be very effective.
Right.
It sucks energy off of it.
They're definitely interdimensional, whatever they are. I mean, there's no doubt. And apparently, just to be in our atmosphere, they have to do something.
I think they have to have something, yeah. But where is that thing?
Well, if you look at some of these, like the one you got from the guy in Chicago, and compared to yours,
yeah,
they're kind of Cthulhu-ish looking.
Yeah, they're different.
Yeah, they look like some sort of
HP level.
Yeah, yeah, man.
You don't like to hear that, but you know. I can't find this thing right now. I was hoping I could find it because it's the I think it's the 1-2 on the third week. I think it's the third image that the thing turns into. Oh, I haven't even gotten into the big images yet. Like the there's parts on the film where it looks like there's faces right in the camera, looking right in the camera, and they go from small to large, and back down to small.
Well, listen, the most compelling stuff on here are the 2 floater images that were taken in November of '74.
Those are the main ones. Those are the most clear. Yeah.
I mean, those are. I mean, you can make out definitely make out the helmet. You can see how it's 2-piece. You can see the suit. You can see the staff. You can see the fingers around the staff.
Yeah, that's the best one, and that was the first one, believe it or not. And they never repeated that one. Now, the one they took the third week, they made it look similar. You know, it was similar, but it's not the same.
Right.
The helmet's the same, but all the details that were in the first one aren't in that one. That was the. Now, maybe again, you know, you say, okay, maybe it's the way the camera hit it just didn't show up, or it just looks different. I really can't say. If you can, take a look at the first film is the Alien Connection 1 of 15. That shows the 4 images. And take a look at the third, when it starts out, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's one image that stands up against there's a TV antenna there. It looks like it's up against a TV antenna, and that's the one that looks like it's got the canister. Now, the thing on the ground, it looks like the canister, it's got out of the canister, and the canister is laying on the ground. Now, I don't know if that makes any sense. You know, if it's a canister. You know, I really don't know.
You know, a long time ago, I had an experience when I was with a friend of mine named Brian, and we saw these little beings in the woods that were kind of as small as the ones that we're seeing with you. I'm thinking of this now, and they were standing around a little box. Kind of remembering that. And for some reason, I didn't really draw a comparison to your case and that in my case, but they were definitely little small beings with like cloaks on. I thought they looked like little Jawas.
Wow.
So, I mean, there's definitely, you know, at that time I had been looking into Celtic Druidism and shamanism and the other world and all that stuff very heavily. So I think there's definitely in another dimension that overlies ours, and I guess, you know,
under certain conditions, maybe you can see, you know, maybe
yeah,
or maybe certain people can see and other people can't.
Yeah, and your camera happened to be a device that picked them up.
Probably at the right spot at the right time, but it kept on for so long. That's what's funny about it. You wonder whether you couldn't go back there today and do it all over, you know. If it's a spot, then maybe that would work.
Maybe it's the camera. It's a magic camera of the wee folk.
No, maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
Where did you get that camera?
I bought it at some place in Miami, I think.
Some Chinaman.
Yeah. Right.
Hateful things.
Right.
Freaking cursed.
Oh gosh, I'm still looking for that canister thing for you. I can't find it. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Take a look on page 148. This thing came from one of those spacesuit type things. And look at the bottom part of it. It looks like it's leaning up against the TV antenna, the pole.
It's like it's...
See it on 148?
Yeah.
What kind of pole? Is that a light pole or like a...
That's a TV antenna pole. Up on top is, you used to have that instead of cable, your regular antennas.
Yep, I remember them days.
Yep.
I think those freaking lizard people are jacking your TV, man. They're probably watching I Love Lucy.
Yeah, maybe they're probably tapping off of it or something. But you see the way it's this thing is kind of leaning up against the pole? If you look at the bottom part of it, it looks like the canister. It's got round circles around it. And the top part coming out looks like it's some kind of neck or head on there. Maybe the bottom part's in the canister. I don't know. But it came from one of those 4 pictures that were shot from the 3rd week. That's the 3rd image. So it's hard. Yeah, it's hard to put it together,
I mean, it's life forms dancing around in this hot spot, and they're jacking your TV. And we can laugh at it. That's good, but I mean, it's serious. I mean, it's really this becomes so compelling that all we can do about it because it's so bizarre.
There's a picture of a face that shows up on the side of the screen enclosure, where it has a neck that goes down into the ground, and just below the head part, there's a dark brown ring. And you notice this canister thing, you can't see it too well on there, but it has a round ring on it too. There's something going on there. They don't seem to bother anything. I mean, didn't have any contact with anything.
My thing with all my experiences is I always get paranoid and wonder if I was like taken in their ship and they did weird stuff to me and I just don't remember.
Dude's all checking his butt in the mirror and.
See, I don't even know if I believe in that stuff. I mean, from anything that's in this book, all the films I got and everything like that, it doesn't seem like there's any contact going on between that and anything else other than looking.
Yeah.
I think that almost has to be true because if there was, geez, there'd be all kinds of people missing all over the place, Or maybe there is and you don't know it. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of missing people.
Yeah.
According to our Native American friend, the little people steal children, so it's certainly plausible.
Right.
Certainly plausible.
Well, you know what? You don't put anything. You just don't dismiss anything. Anything's possible. Just because we don't know how to do it or what's going on. That other picture I was talking about is on page 48. It's not very clear in here, but it's, there it is too. It's on page 49. If you want to look at that real quick, I can show you what I mean. That showed up with when the floater guy came back in 1977. You can see a picture of him in there with the arrows pointing to the floater guy that came from the yard behind the house. That's on page 49.
Yeah, I see that.
Okay, now look totally to the left. And you can see what looks like a face up on the top. And if you follow that down, it's like a long neck. And just below the head, there's that dark band around it.
Yeah.
That's kind of like was in the canister. It's the same kind of band. And I think that's also on this alien type thing that came out of the new type suit in 1977, when I said the helmet leaves the body part, and this thing comes out of the bottom. I think that has that dark band around there, too.
They definitely have devices and some kind of technology.
Oh yeah.
I mean, no doubt about it. They're
They're a whole lot different than us. And these images, like the one that's on the screen there, they can change size. Now there's another one I have on another film that actually comes and it's a little bitty image that looks into the camera, and then right next to it, it blows itself up. It takes in almost the whole picture, and the little one's still there. It's almost like, hey, look at me, you know.
Yep.
It's strange, really strange.
What did your family think about this stuff? I mean, what did they say?
Right. Who?
What did your family think about all this?
Oh, my wife doesn't pay attention to it. She doesn't like to go there.
Yeah. That's butter.
Maybe you're better off, you know.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I haven't looked at these in a long time. They sat in a box there for 30 years, and I didn't do a thing with them. And then a couple of years ago, for some reason, I think my son suggested he maybe write a book about something. I started thinking, well, maybe I should get the old films out and take a look at them. And when I got the old films out, that's when I realized that the one from Chicago, I was able to put them on a computer. You know, I scanned it into the computer and I was able to blow it up, and I could see that the space to it images looked almost identical to ones in 1974. So that's when I took the image and I stacked it on top of each other, like the ones in the Chicago picture, and lined them up side by side. And that's on page 58, where you can see the one is off the original Chicago photograph, where it shows these things like the spacesuit images stacked behind one another. And then the one on the right is, I took one of the 1974 images and stacked them behind one another and tipped them and set them beside the one in Chicago. And they look awful like, you know, I mean, a little blurry, but it sure looks like the same thing to me.
No doubt about it. So the book is The Alien Connection, and you can just type in that title and find it on Amazon.com?
Yeah. The Alien Connection by Gregory Harold. You put the name in, you definitely get it. There might be another book called The Alien Connection, but if you type in the author's name too, it'll come right up on top. It's also on Google Book Search. If people want to go on Google, go to Book Search and type in The Alien Connection by Gregory Harold. They review certain parts of the book on there. Like, they'll let you look at certain chapters and things, you know, for nothing.
What in the world? I just heard a weird knocking on a window in my house. What? F? Hold on a second. You in the bed?
Maybe that was Guy.
I just heard a weird knocking on the window. In the house. That was freaking weird. My girlfriend's in the bed. I just heard, God, man, I'm not kidding. I just heard someone knock on my goddamn window.
You're kidding.
We're in the middle of wilderness. And it was, I don't know what the fuck it was. I'm not kidding. Everyone in my house is in the bed.
Well, that's weird.
Yeah, it's real weird, and it has me freaked the hell out.
Oh,
I'm not the type of person to make up crap, but it was like someone knocked on the window. Everyone in my house is in the bed right now. I thought maybe my girlfriend was in the restroom doing something. She's in the bed.
Did you live in you know,
the wilderness?
Yeah, and that could have been some big-ass bug or...
No, it was like someone was knocking on the window, dude. I mean, it reminded me of someone being at a window and knocking on it.
Oh, that's weird.
Wow.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it's something paranormal, but it's freaking got me freaked the hell out right now.
Well, what else would knock on the window?
It could be something else. It could be a squirrel. I don't know, but it reminded me of someone knocking on the window, like it was like someone's outside and they need to get in.
Raccoons? You got any of those around there?
There's a moth attack, dude.
I hope so, but I guess let's end the show, and I'm going to get my brother up, see what the hell that was. Because I ain't going out there by myself. That's for goddamn sure. That was crazy.
All right, dude.
That is crazy.
All right.
We got about
get back on that.
Yeah, we got about 5 minutes, so why don't you let Gregory give us all its information again, all his YouTube channels, and then, Jeff, you're going to tell us what's coming up in the coming weeks. So, Gregory, what's up?
Okay, well, if the people want to go to YouTube, they can type in, go to YouTube and type in GREGG, H is in Harold 71. That'll take them to the site that shows all the YouTube videos. There's about 32 on there now, and those from that they can get a good idea what the images on the videos look like. Now, if you want to look at the book, which it has more detail, and it explains things a lot better, you can buy that through Amazon.com online, or you can go to Barnes & Noble or Target, and they'll order it for you. So that's how you get those. And if anybody out there has any questions about anything, please feel free to email me at heraldsmystery@AOL.com, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that I can. Or if you have any information that you might want to share with me, that would be fine too. But
What was that? Say that email slower.
Harold's Mystery, HAROLDSMYSTERY @AOL.com.
Okay.
Yeah, I set a separate one. I set a separate one aside because I get so much spam on my regular one that you can't keep up with it. So this one is strictly that's the one I refer to on the advertisements in the on YouTube where I say the book. You can reach me there. So it's Harold's Mystery, no spaces, @AOL.com.
All right. Well, I haven't heard that weird talking anymore. There's all kinds of animals out here, so I'm just gonna hope that's what it was.
Maybe Bigfoot.
Yeah, it's possible. But we're definitely anything's possible at this point. We're definitely going to have you come back next year, early in the year, and we'll talk some more, Greg.
We can get into more detail probably.
Yeah, definitely. We'll definitely put something together. Okay. Well, thanks for being on the show, Greg. I'm going to give off our guests for the upcoming month, and we're going to...
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me on. It was a lot of fun.
Take care, man. We'll be in touch.
Okay, thank you. All right, bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, everybody. Next week we have Natalina Intel from Extraordinary Intelligence. She's going to talk about her alien and paranormal experiences, and she's an excellent writer. Dennis Reno did a picture of her, so she's immersed in the scene. That's on the 12th. On the 19th, Susan Chancellor. She's had some abduction experiences, and I think she was doing a radio show for a while, but she has a blog about all her experiences. I've been trying to get people that have had, strange alien experiences that may not be getting much attention. So that's what this month's been about. On the 26th is D.H. Parsons. He's more about witchcraft, but something about witches communing with aliens. So that should be weird. And then on December 3rd, Micah Hanks and Jarrett Brox, our web designer from the churchofmabus.com, will be on the show. We're going to be talking about alien stuff and religious experiences and spiritual experiences. And then on December 10th, Carrie Boyer, my girlfriend, former client of Bud Hopkins, is going to be doing the show, and she's going to be talking about her experiences. She's been on Nova Channel and the MTV Roswell documentary anniversary, and she has been out of the scene for a very long time, so she's going to join us, and we're going to talk about her experiences. And then on the 17th, Andy Colvin's coming back about the Mothman. He's designing our finale about the Mothman Roundtable. So that's it for the year, and that's it. Rock it with your rocket out and all that jazz. So that's our schedule pretty much. And make sure you stop by our website at thechurchofmabus.com and our Facebook group, the Church of Mabus Radio Show. And that's it. We'll see you next week with Natalina Intel, and it's been a hell of a night, and I haven't heard that noise anymore. Hopefully it was just something stupid, and little lizard people aren't going to butt rape me when I'm asleep tonight.
Oh, you're definitely getting butt raped, dude. Don't worry about it. you just won't remember it. Maybe Carrie's involved somehow in the raping.
Hey. Hoo-wah, hoo-wah, Joe.
All right, man.
All right, everybody. I'm tired. Good night.
Good night.